Hello, and welcome back to the Low to High podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ann Evans, and I'm here with my co-host, John Sullivan, today. Say hi, John.
Hello, people. How are you doing today?
Today, our guests are the Wasserman brothers, MLL MVP Bryce Wasserman and Towson Midfielder Casey Wasserman. What's up, guys? How's it going?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, for sure. Always good to get some familiar faces on the show.
Absolutely.
So I think we're just gonna start off with like general lacrosse questions. Tell us a little bit about like what your childhood was like with lacrosse, and kind of how it like formed you into the player you are today. You can both like do different takes on it.
No, I mean I was the first one to play in the family. Dad never played, mom never played. They're both from Florida, so they were never really around it much. My dad saw it for the first time when he went to Towson to play football in college. So we're not one of those Maryland, Long Island kids who's born with a stick. I mean, I didn't start playing until I was 12 years old in sixth grade. So yeah, I was pretty late to the game in terms of starting to play. I literally just saw it from baseball practice and it just looked like a lot more fun. So I said I wanted to try lacrosse out instead. So I was kind of the first one to do it. Casey and our younger brother Drew started. I don't know, what grade were you in at that point? Like fourth grade?
I was fourth grade. Yep.
Yeah, so we were decently late to the game. I mean, I think it was pretty cool that we were like the only people in our family that did it, right? So it's kind of like our own little thing.
Yeah, so you guys are from Texas, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I was born in Austin. I lived there only until I was 4, so I have very, very limited memories, but I do enjoy going back.
Texas forever.
Yeah, Texas forever.
Forever, that's right.
Yeah, clear eyes, full hearts.
Can't lose.
Can't lose. But anyways, so coming from Texas, it's not the most well-respected area in the country for lacrosse, but you guys clearly made a name for yourself. How'd you go about doing that?
I'll take this one, Bryce. I think it was just kind of that chip on your shoulder. You go up to camps and, your team's flying the 3 hours to 4 hours up to Maryland and Long Island, where these guys are just getting in cars, driving 20 minutes down the road. They got the pedigree, the name of their high school and their club team. I think it was just kind of the chip on your shoulder, like, we are the better athlete, but we need to prove that we can play lacrosse at the high level. So that's kind of something for me. Just every day I wake up, just kind of trying to set the path for the next Bryce, Casey, Nakai Montgomery, the next kind of Texas guy to go play college lacrosse, and just kind of setting the tone that you have to work hard at it, but you are just as good as the top tier talent up here.
And Texas lacrosse is growing a lot. I know there's like one of my favorite like women's players. She's the goalie for Boston. She's from Texas, and like she's so good. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, Texas is growing. It's one of those areas that's going to be really, really good because there's a lot of football talent that's looking for something to keep them in shape during the off season, and that's going to be lacrosse. Like some of those D linemen are going to love to get a pole. Like they're just going to really enjoy that. That's what happened in Indiana. It was all football players that started the lacrosse program. And I don't know if you guys remember the AL 6000, like that big, gigantic, inch-thick titanium shaft. It was like the first shaft you got with any STX head. I had a defenseman snap one of those, mine, over someone because he was a football player, and he just ran at him like this. Oh. It just snapped it in half.
Those things are unsnappable. So
I know. Oh man. I was terrified like for the kid he hit. I was like, "Oh my God, how did you get up?"
Now, you guys both used to play football, right?
Yes.
QB, am I right?
I played quarterback. Casey played
what? You cut out.
I played defensive back and wide receiver. Bryce actually threw me my first varsity touchdown, actually my freshman year.
Awesome.
Nice.
Something cool we have for that.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing, yeah. I hope you guys have the film of that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's somewhere saved.
Good, yeah. You don't want to lose that film.
No, you guys played on like the same high school team, right?
Yeah, we weren't. My teams weren't that great. Casey actually won the state championship his senior year, though, which is pretty crazy.
What would you say like your favorite memory from like playing together in high school would be?
Lacrosse or football?
Lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, right? Um, I mean, maybe not one specific memory, but just that whole year was a lot of fun. It was the best year our high school program has ever had. We made it to the state semifinals or quarterfinals or whatever, and our team had making the playoffs was like a huge deal for our team. So I think being able to do that with Casey on the same team was a lot of fun. I was a senior when he was a freshman, so it was. I think that whole year. I mean, we had some good games, some bad games, but that whole year was a lot of fun.
We somehow haven't had like a Baltimore kid on yet, like somebody who just had it made from the minute, like the minute they started playing. And it's so weird hearing all the similarities between like our experiences coming from non-lacrosse hotbeds and like yours and Nick Acello's and people like that.
Literally everyone has the same story. They're like, yeah, I was sitting on the baseball field and I saw lacrosse and I wanted to play that.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw people hitting each other and I was like, wait, that looks way more fun than standing in the outfield and hoping a 7-year-old can hit a ball. Like,
right.
Yeah. But so I know you guys have talked about how great it was before, but give us a little bit of insight into your college experience and how you ended up where you ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I was not really that good in high school. Obviously, I picked up lacrosse very late. I started in 6th grade. So, and I was back in the day before the recruiting rules, right? So kids were committing in 8th grade, 9th grade. You got like Shaq Stanwyck, who's in my grade, was committed to Hopkins before I could throw a pass with my left hand.
I remember
right?
that,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy for me. I mean, my development took a long time. I was a late bloomer. I was like 5'9", 5'10", like 140 pounds until my junior year of high school. It was when I finally like hit my growth spurt and started growing a little bit. So I was under recruited. I only had 3 offers. Monmouth was one of them. Took that. I showed up in year 2 of the program after year 1 when they went 0-13. So that was definitely interesting for a high school senior to try to get pumped up about doing that. But I had an awesome time. We really turned that program around and kind of turned it into like a mid-major power. I know my junior season, the 4th year of the team, we were ranked like 15th or 16th in the country, won the conference championship, went to the NCAA playoffs. So yeah, I mean, I think that was super cool just for me to be a part of that team and to see that growth. And I mean, it's the same thing as coming from Texas, right? Like I went to Monmouth. I didn't go to Duke or Cuse or anything like that. It was definitely a different experience than a lot of people had, especially starting a team. And so I think that shaped me a little bit and the player that I am today, and it kind of helped me when I got to the pros.
Yeah, I guess mine was a little different than Bryce. I was kind of peak recruitment when you were 15 or 16 was when you committed, your freshman year going into your sophomore year summer. So I remember I was studying for my biology final and I got a call from a club coach saying that the Michigan coach is calling you in 20 minutes. Got on it, had a visit lined up before I was even done with my freshman year. So kind of didn't have Bryce to lean on in that situation, whereas I had him my whole freshman season. I could lean on him to kind of show me the ropes of playing high school lacrosse. Bryce really didn't have the experience to kind of tell me how to conquer like being recruited as a freshman. Did all my visits. I actually ended up committing to Furman for I think I was committed for 2.5 years.
Paladins.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Rah rah.
Rip their lacrosse program.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was committed there for about 2.5 years, and then I just was waking up for like a month straight. I just woke up kind of like just pulling like I think I should go to Towson. My dad played football there. Growing up in the backyard, it was always like pretending I was playing for Towson football or Towson lacrosse, like win like the national championship in the backyard when I was younger. It was kind of like not many people can say that they've lived out their dream of going to like their dream school or like playing for like their dream pro team. So it kind of was like a no-brainer. Got here after their Final Four run, which was tough freshman year to follow up. We made it to the conference championship, lost to UMass, unfortunately. Then sophomore year, kind of all the pieces fell into place. We have Zach Goodrich, was a 3-time captain, Alex Woodall coming back. Brennan Sunday came into his own. Timmy Monahan, Graham Maloof. My line was pretty young. The second line, we were 2 sophomores and a junior, but, we did our part. We did our role. Guys like Brody McClain stepped up, Luke Frommert. And, we ended up being ranked #1 in the nation for about 2 weeks, which was the first time in Towson history. go win the conference championship, host the playoff game. Unfortunately, we lose to Maryland in overtime, but just kind of having that different experience from Bryce coming into a program that has that kind of blue blood, top tier success, which has been awesome. It's definitely made me a better player every day going up against, Kobe Smith, who's probably going to be a 3-time All-American when he's done here, going up against guys like that, like Goodrich. It's definitely made me a way better player, and a way tougher player.
Absolutely. There's some decorated athletes that have come from Towson, but who would you say like is your favorite person that you've gotten to like play on the field with there? It's a tough one.
I gotta be careful. I could get in trouble here. I definitely Zach, just because I was next to him in the locker room his senior year, my sophomore year. Just to see the way he leads and the way he plays is definitely an unbelievable thing. It's like a thing of beauty to watch how he plays. He's the best defensive mid in the world, and probably will go down like that.
He's with Bryce now, right?
Yeah, he's with Bryce. I will say though, I love playing with Timmy Monahan. He was probably like my favorite person to play with. Funny guy, great player, great teammate. Timmy Two-Way was definitely probably my favorite player to play with.
Awesome.
I think out of I'm wearing my Notre Dame jersey today. Go Irish. I think they're definitely my favorite because I've been wearing a Notre Dame jersey every Saturday in the fall since I was like 2 days old, because I was born October 4th and they had a game I think like the 6th. My dad put a little baby jersey on me, and so yeah, I think they're my number one. But Towson, I love, just there's something about it.
Mm-hmm.
They just got that
Appreciate
swag.
that.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
love Towson. Towson's I think my second favorite team. I can say that with pretty much confidence. Yeah, I'm not going to go two blue bloods. Can't do that. I'll go. Yeah,
right.
No, but I definitely love Towson. Like, you guys play with a swag and like an intensity that is just really fun to watch.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, man. So do you guys have any like pregame routines that you do every single time? We talked to Coach Quirk, and he cleans his office before every game. He like meticulously cleans his office. And I think it's just him clearing out his head too, like getting everything in order, but just doing his hands with it. Do you guys have anything like that? You have to tape your stick, or you have to tie one cleat in front of the other?
No, I mean, I don't do anything crazy. I'm not too superstitious. I mean, I usually get to the field wherever we're playing. It was pretty easy this summer just being at Navy the whole time, but I usually just walk one lap around the field whenever we first show up, like before I even get dressed, just like walk a lap real quick, and then I'll retape my stick and then just listen to some incredibly violent music.
That is the best way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Bryce. I used to be very superstitious in high school. I've gotten less and less in college, but I run to the corner of the field, say like a quick prayer, and I always have to hug at least 3 guys on the team, like generally the guys that I'm going out there to play with, just tell them we got this, no big deal. And yeah, nothing too crazy, just kind of the same stuff before the anthem and then after the anthem.
Yeah, some people just have like some weird things. Like in high school, I had a teammate who had to put on his right cleat first. It didn't make him any better, but he did it.
Right. No, a new one this year. I was just eating Challen Rogers' pre-workout with a spoon. I just shoveling that.
Yeah, that's part of the question. I just skipped over it. Pre-game meal, but yeah, it sounds like yours was just pre-workout.
That'll get you going.
Rice scooping it like cereal.
Yeah, that sounds pretty terrible to me, honestly. But if it clearly worked, so.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys string your own sticks, or does someone string them for you? And if you string them, where'd you learn to do it from?
I do my own. I literally learned it from YouTube. I remember the STX tutorial video with Brendan Mundorf was like, so I string my own. I know Lars, the Sideball Jedi, will want to shout out.
He's our next guest.
I am very particular about my stuff, but he's obviously a wizard and the best in the game. So I've started to let him experiment with my sticks. I had him do up a couple Warrior sticks to get ready for box or Team USA tryouts or whatever happens next. That I have to use a Warrior stick, but my PAL stuff is all me.
What about you, Casey?
Yeah, I actually got super frustrated trying to learn how to string a stick. So Bryce used to do mine pretty much since he learned until I graduated high school, and then I got to Towson. Timmy Monahan strung mine my freshman year, and then I met someone through FCA. His name's Steve Bannock. He played at Stevenson, and he's strung my sticks ever since. But if my bottom string breaks on my stick during the game, like I have no idea how to like repair that. I'm
You
bad.
just lost.
I just have no idea what to do. So I tell him make it as tight as possible, so no matter what, it doesn't break until you get me my like second stick back.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I love to string. We had ECD Greg on 2 or 3 episodes ago. We talked to him about his YouTube videos and how they taught a lot of people how to string. And in high school, I strung like 750 heads. Like I was the town stringer. And so
That's awesome.
I loved it, but I got these thick calluses on my thumbs and pointer fingers from like continually pulling and then putting out the flame with my fingers and stuff. Yeah, man, it was like worth it. But at the same time, I would be sitting in study hall stringing a stick and everyone would make fun of me because nobody knew what lacrosse was. They'd be like, "Oh, you knitting, Sully? You knitting over there?" Did you ever get any of that in Texas? Like when you committed, did your friends like look at the roster and look at the final verdict on Monmouth's first season and be like, "Oh boy, look what you've signed up for"? Because my friends definitely gave me crap. Like lacrosse isn't real, bro. Like,
Yeah, I mean it was tough, especially the classic chirp because I committed before they even played that first season. When I was a junior, that was the year before they started.
oh yeah,
So like you just committed to a school without a team. Like what?
what are you doing?
Right. So that was kind of the chirp that I would get it, but I mean it paid off, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and move on to some questions just for Bryce about the MLL. So there's always like videos of the NFL or the NBA draft, and all of their stories get told. But we're curious about like what your experience being drafted was, and I know that like most lacrosse players get drafted like while they're still in college. So kind of tell us about that story a little bit.
Yeah, so it was April of my senior year was when the draft was. So I think we still had like 2 or 3 regular season games left and then the conference playoffs. Some years it's before the whole senior season, some years it's after, some years it's during. This one was during. Um, and it never really was like a possibility in my head, right? Like I didn't go into my senior season like, all right, I gotta score this many goals so that I can up my draft stock, right? It all like pro lacrosse was always just this like gentleman's club that I was never gonna be a part of, right? Like that was just that like I came from Texas, I went to Monmouth, like it was never obviously I watched the MLL ever since I picked up a stick. Like I like to watch games all the time, even like when I got into college and things like that. Um, but it just never really was a thing for me. But moving into that month of the draft in April, I started getting phone calls and emails from all the GMs around the league because they kind of reach out. As you know, a lot of it depends on your availability and your job and where you're living and things like that. So I started getting the emails. I remember the first one was from the Florida launch from Coach Mariano. He reached out, kind of asked me what my plans were, and I get one from the Machine, and then the Outlaws call, and all these teams kind of start reaching out. I was like, oh wow, like this is an actual possibility. So that got me obviously really excited. I wanted to be a part of it as much as anything else, right? Like I wanted to get drafted, and it all just kind of didn't seem real until someone put out like a mock draft the week of the draft, and they had me go into the Dallas Rattlers, obviously, in like the second to last round. I don't know, but it like I was on that draft board, and so that was when it like kind of became really real, and a lot of my Monmouth teammates started getting really excited. And I think the draft was like a Wednesday night, so we weren't gonna go out or celebrate or anything because we had a game Saturday, but we had like a bunch of guys over, ordered some Buffalo Wild Wings, and literally just like flipped it on and hung out. Which I wish there was a camera there because it was a long night because I didn't end up getting picked until I was the second to last pick, 7th round. I think it was 62 or something like that. That's back when there were 9 teams. So yeah, I mean that was pretty crazy, but especially just because all the teams that I talked to picked ex-attackmen. I remember Florida picked Jules, Denver picked Cloutier, and the Rats picked, I forget who the Rats picked, but yeah, that second to last pick rolled around, and Coach Seaman from Denver called me and said, "We're taking you. Congrats, welcome to the league." And then Sandy walks up and said my name. Everyone starts freaking out. It was a pretty fun time, especially just like kind of how it all came together at the last minute, not really knowing what was going to happen.
That's such a cool story. Yeah, because a lot of like Dan Baccaro's was I was on the bus ride back, and most of my teammates were like sleeping. So and, yeah, and that's just such a unique thing to lacrosse because the NFL, the NBA, MLB. I had a friend who was drafted by the Red Sox, and even he had like some friends around and stuff like that. And you have a cool story. It sounds like you got a chance to actually do it right.
Yeah, I know Griffin Fiegel, who's at Monmouth. Rutgers always does like a little annual thing around the draft where they'll go celebrate the guys who all get drafted. So it was kind of his idea to get the boys together, which was really special to kind of have everyone there around me. And then we actually had a game that Saturday that we went out and won. So it was a pretty fun week, and just kind of getting that call was really special because after the like the pick that I was projected to go to happened and it wasn't me. I was kind of sitting there like, oh no, is this like am I about to go undrafted in front of all my boys? Like, so I was very thankful that I got that call.
That's so cool. Well, obviously you're very talented, and a lot of coaches realize that and were thinking about drafting you, and somebody ended up drafting you. But what did you find the most difficult part of the adjustment to be, considering you went from college to playing on the same field as someone like John Grant?
Right. I mean, first of all, getting on the field, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people understand how concentrated the talent is in pro lacrosse. I mean, you think about it, in the MLL, there's 6 teams with 20 guys on the roster. So that's 120 spots in the MLL, and that's it. And that's for not just for your draft class. That's Lyle, that's Heacock, that's Randy Stotts, that's everybody, right? So like, I think that that's something that people don't really understand is how hard it is just to get even on the field. And when you kind of get that opportunity to make the most of it, I never got that opportunity with Denver, obviously. Um, Ended up getting released and signed by Ohio, which is when I was finally able to get my first shot. But I think that was obviously the hardest adjustment, was just getting on a team. And then once you get into the game, I think a lot of it, there's a lot more nuances with the shorter shot clock and it kind of full line substitutions at the midfield. There's not really many two-way guys in the pros. So I think that kind of adjusting to getting that full substitution and working the shot clock was something that, especially for me, I never played with the shot clock in college. I graduated the year before it started. So for me, going from absolutely no shot clock at Monmouth, we drained the clock, like 3-minute offensive possessions. We played a little bit of stall ball sometimes,
Yeah.
but so that was definitely the biggest thing for me, was going from no shot clock in our pace of play at Monmouth to going to the pros where it's a 60-second shot clock, and really by the time you get the ball cleared and everyone's subbed on, there was like 35 seconds left to run a full offense possession. So that was definitely the biggest adjustment for me once I finally was able to get on a team.
Things happen fast.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy watching like all of the pros play this summer. I was like, I've never seen lacrosse like this high of a level before. Like everyone's just like so crisp and everything. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's the best product of the game out there, like by far.
So when you first got to the league, and Casey, you can answer this too, like about Towson. Were there any like veteran players that like really took you under their wing, and like, or did you like kind of have to prove yourself to become one of the guys?
Yeah, so I think I was very lucky with my first situation. I went to the Ohio Machine. They were coming off that championship year that they had, and that locker room was full of just living legends, right? My locker was actually in between Kyle Harrison and Tom Shriver. So I mean, just like being in between them, and
That's a cool
luckily
thing.
they no one really talked to me before practice. I was just kind of I was Marcus Holman's scab for that week. I was replacing him at the World Games. So I think everyone's just kind of like, oh, here's this mid-major kid. He's just here to fill in for Marcus for a week, like whatever. And I ended up having like a really good first practice and came into my locker between Kyle and Tom, and they both kind of start talking to me and hyped me up for the game that night and saying that I belong and I'm there for a reason. And they did their research on me and all that stuff. And my first practice obviously went well. And then a guy like Scotty Rogers, who can motivate anybody on earth, he pulls me aside and he's giving me like a pump up speech and saying that they're happy that I'm there. And I think that kind of gave me the confidence that I needed to go out there and play. So yeah, those three definitely had a big impact on me that first week.
That's awesome, man. That's such a cool story. Kyle Harrison, Tom Schreiber, and Scotty Rogers. Those are like three gigantic names for people who grew up watching when we did. And that's such a cool story.
What about you, Casey?
Yeah, when I got to Towson, it was, like I said, it was after the Final Four run. So we were, guys like Joe Sider, Ryan Drenner, like Hall of Fame guys at Towson, like the best to do it in the black and gold. They leave, so guys come in. There's a lot of room to kind of play as a freshman on the offensive end. I was lucky enough to play in 10 games my freshman year. And Johnny Mazza really kind of pulled me aside, just kind of like showed me the ropes. He sadly got a concussion against the Team USA scrimmage in the fall. So I got thrown into the fire, and I had to play his role on the first line midfield against Robert Morris my freshman year. And, every time I come off the field, he'd be right there at the box, put his arm around me and was like, I saw this, like, do this next time, like, work on this, like, your D guys approaching you this way. So he was very helpful in just kind of breaking the game down for me, because it's really hard when you go from, especially Texas lacrosse, where, there's only about you and 3 other guys going to play Division I. They're kind of playing at that speed. To then go out there and be going a million miles an hour, it's tough to slow the game down. So he was very helpful, and just slowing the game down helped me kind of digest what I see and go into the goal and kind of making something happen.
That's awesome. He went off this year too. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
he played awesome. He played awesome.
His shake is just like out of this world. Like, oh my gosh. So like, as veterans yourself now at Towson and at you've been at the Cannons for what, like 2 years?
No, that was year 1.
Oh yeah, because you were at the Rattlers. That's right.
But you're a veteran in the league.
Yeah, or like
a true veteran.
But is there anything that you think you can pass along to like help others prepare for like that kind of transition, like into college or into the pros?
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much that you can say, right? You learn by doing, but I mean, the thing that helped me the most was watching it. Like you guys said, like you guys were field level for the tournament, right? Like there's like watching it and kind of immersing yourself in it was what really helped me. I know that whole summer that I was kind of waiting to play for the Outlaws before getting cut I watched every MLL game that happened, just trying to learn the nuances, right? Because like it's a different game than in college. I mean, maybe less so now that college has a shot clock and kids are kind of used to that now. But I know for me personally, that was something I did, was I just kind of bought in and immersed myself in it.
Awesome.
That's really cool. What about you, Casey? You got anything for people coming from high school to college, especially people in areas that aren't the best competition year round?
Yeah, just kind of, you're there for a reason, just speaking for Towson specifically, Coach Nads doesn't recruit guys just out of whim. He brings in guys who are going to make us better, whether it's your first year on practice squad or you're going to be day one going 20-20 your freshman season. So just kind of you're there for a reason. And then obviously during everything going on with last year's season getting canceled, this year's season, fall ball kind of in jeopardy. I wouldn't say jeopardy, but just we have no idea what's going on. Just kind of don't take it for granted. If you get one practice this fall, make it your best practice this fall. Just kind of, you're there for a reason. And then while you're there, don't take it for granted.
Yeah, because it can go away at any time, weirdly, like we saw last year.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to ask you a little bit about both of y'all's experience in the bubble. What would you say, like, your favorite part of the entire experience was?
I mean, besides winning, or can I answer that?
I mean,
we're going to ask,
That's cool, too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, winning the championship and all of that, and the tent after the game with the guys, definitely an interesting celebration for some of the guys who had already won it. But I mean, just kind of, I never touched the trophy before. I never picked it up, so literally just like seeing it with it in my lap and like a 12-pack of Bud Lights. It was a great feeling.
It's heavy. It's a lot heavier than you think it would be.
They don't tell you that. They do not. They don't tell you.
What about you, Casey? You were there.
Yeah. I would say, well, obviously watching Bryce win was definitely top experience that as a family member and brother that I could have, just seeing all of his hard work finally reach, I guess, a peak, if you will. He did the two things that you can't really surpass. Watching Bryce do his thing, watching the Towson guys have great weekends. Grant Malouf coming in his rookie season played great for the Bayhawks. Maz as well. Woodall dominating the X. Goodrich doing Zach things Sunday. And Coach Ford as well with the barrage.
Gotta love Spencer.
I can't leave him out. So watching those guys, my like dear friends that I'll have forever, those guys playing well, and honestly just watching like the world class talent. It says for something. It's different watching it on TV than it is, watching Lyle Thompson
like
do his
4
thing
feet
in
away
person.
from you.
Yeah, we're right there, watching, Randy Stotts, Kyle Jackson, Challen Rogers, like world class players in the box game and field, being able just to watch them live, kind of dissect every single step they take. It was pretty awesome for me as like a lacrosse rat, I guess. I just love watching the game. So being able to watch those guys in person up close was awesome.
And you called that the Cannons were going to win too. All the interns placed bets on who was going to win. He was the only guy that said the Cannons.
Well, he's got a bet on his brother.
He said Cannons and Outlaws. Cannons going to take it, and he was right. So.
Oh
yeah. Sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
it's okay. We switch off questions. Sometimes we forget. But so this one's for you, Bryce. How much did you really have left going into the championship weekend, like left in the tank? I mean, how much, considering you had played on hot turf all week, you were doing a lot of games. It was like a tournament, but just stretched out even longer. And I mean, I would get tired from 2-day tournaments in high school. So like, you basically played a 2-week tournament. How much did you guys have left in the tank? Or was it mostly just like, we're not going home without this, or were you guys really energized and ready to go out there?
Yeah, I think it was the whole week itself was a grind. I think a lot of guys came in really good shape, obviously, because we knew how terrible it was going to be on our bodies. I think everyone came in pretty good shape. I know for me personally, I never got too gassed, obviously, because I was sharing X with Randy Stotts. So I was kind of able to kind of lean on him if I had a couple long runs, and he was able to lean on me if he was getting hounded a little bit. So I think that really helped us stay fresh and kind of have that 1-2 punch, which was really helpful. And then obviously when Randy decided to opt out of the championship game, kind of shouldering that load definitely hit me different on that Sunday on that hot turf at 2 p.m. I was kind of running out of steam, and then when I broke my hand in the third quarter, that was like the only breath I got was when I was hiding on the crease. So yeah, I mean but I know, speaking for the guys, like Goodrich was a horse and just didn't stop all weekend. Challen didn't stop. KJ didn't stop. Like Uppy, OC, like Uppy had his best game on the hottest day, on the last day of the tournament. Like I think a lot of guys were really amped up for that game. For one, I mean, I know I wasn't on the Cannons last year, but they lost to the Outlaws in a game that they felt like they should have won. They dominated the league. They were ranked number 1 for most this season. So I know that there were kind of ebbs and flows of the week, and different guys were more gassed on different days than others. But once we got to that championship on Sunday, I think it was kind of this different kind of energy that no one was leaving anything behind.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I told Coach Cork last week that like all of the puzzle pieces like fit together for you guys, and everyone was just doing their thing, and you guys were ahead you guys were like winning the game for the majority of the game, and like it wasn't even a competition, it looked like, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I think playing against them on Friday helped. We kind of got to get a feel for them in a game that, I mean, obviously every game matters, but the winner of that game wasn't going to get the trophy, and we were still going to play each other regardless. So I think that helped us a lot. Uppy really crushed that last game on Sunday. I mean, he had been making invisible plays all week, so for him to blow up like that was really awesome for him. And OC had a great tournament. Challen played attack and filled in for Randy and really did a great job. And our defense played great. Kevin Reisman at the faceoff X. I mean, Max Adler is kind of synonymous with success at the MLL level for the past, 5 years now. He's been dominating the X. So I think Kevin did a really great job and got us the ball, and our defense played great. Baccaro came out and stuck those 3 real quick ones, and we made some adjustments, switched some matchups, and they held it down for the rest of the game. So I mean, it was to kind of we come from behind a lot. We went down early against the Lizards, went down big against the Bayhawks, and fought back and kind of ran out of time. I mean, we went down against the Barrage. Like every win, we came from behind besides the championship. So it was nice to kind of play with that cushion for once.
Yeah, exactly. So what were your emotions and like feelings you had when you were lifting the trophy, knowing like your whole lacrosse career has led to this moment?
Yeah, I mean, it was surreal, and I really don't think it'll ever set in. Like just like seeing the Boston Cannons piece on that trophy, just like everything that went into that week and the whirlwind of the season getting pushed back and postponed. And I think just like kind of being out there playing lacrosse was, one, incredible, and then two, kind of having that super team that we formed, and all the pressure that we had going into that week, obviously, because everyone was like calling us the Golden State Warriors of pro lacrosse, right? Like this kind of super team that came together in the off season, and dealing with all that. And then obviously everything I had been through coming from Texas, going to a small school, getting cut, all that, like to lift that trophy and do everything that we did it. Like I was just, like we did that ESPN interview. I just blacked out. I don't even know. Like it was so surreal. And just, like you say the trophy's heavy, but when you lift it for the first time, it feels awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah. I'll never hoist a trophy unless it's like a rec league one, you know. Casey, you've got a chance at some point, but I'm hosting. I'm gonna hold like a little plastic one if I win a youth league thing with my team, you know. But so I guess we'll move on to some segments. Casey, I know you're a midi, so who's your favorite? This is the poke and lift. Who's your favorite defensive player of all time and why? And I mean, I'm sure it's probably going to be in a short stick D midi.
Yeah, it's going to be a short stick D midi from Kent Island. Yeah, my guy Goodrich. I mean, yeah. I remember my first practice in Towson, we were doing like a scrimmage, just kind of get the freshmen exposed to college lacrosse. And I remember I got the ball from the box and I looked and I saw Zach approaching me. I moved it and Coach Naz walked out on the field. He was reffing the game. And he grabbed me and he goes, "Go ahead and dodge him. Like, just see what happens." I caught it, split to my right hand. He hit me so hard, I thought the top of my head hit my ankles. And I just
folded you.
I just was running as fast as I can to like make it seem like I was going to the goal, but I was trying to move it as quick as I could to whoever was at X.
That's funny, man.
So, yeah, I mean,
he was a beast to watch. I loved watching him play at Towson. It was so fun just because he's tall and big, and you can always pick him out on the field. And then he's not got a pole, which just makes him an unknown factor because it's like, man, he could also push it in transition. He was a really good player to watch at Towson. I loved every minute of watching your games with him.
So this one's for Bryce. It's called the box score. Who is your favorite offensive player of all time?
My favorite offensive player of all time. That's tough. I watch a lot of lacrosse and I try to base my game off of a lot of guys. I mean, just being in person live against Lyle it's unspeakable, right? Just like the things that, like the feel, especially for me not being involved on defense, just like kind of standing at the midfield line. Every time he touches the ball, you kind of like clinch up and your breath gets short because you're just like,
what is he gonna do?
Gonna happen, right? Like, especially once he gets that look in his eyes and he gets the ball in the wing, like you clinch up because I can't do anything about it. So I just have to, especially playing against him, I'm like, well, something's about to happen. So I think watching him, and I mean, you want to talk about some legends of the game. Obviously, John Grant still playing. The Powells, been lucky enough to get close with them through the sponsorship. The things that they would do. I mean, it's tough because there's been a lot of really great players, but I mean, currently, obviously, playing against Lyle has been pretty crazy.
He's forever burned in my brain for that goal. I'm sure you're going to know what I'm talking about, that goal against Loyola, where he throws the fake, turns around, and he's got his stick at his feet, and he just flips it up to the top right.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and actually, one of the guys guarding him during that was David Manning. He used to play for the Charlotte Hounds. And I brought that up to him, and he got visibly angry. And he was like, "We don't talk about Lyle." I was like, "All right, man, I'm sorry."
It's a tense subject.
Right, you play perfect defense, and
And
Yeah,
it just doesn't
exactly.
work.
Like, you play perfect defense. That was a great double team, and he just threw a fake. Everyone bid on it, and he turned around and just loaded a high shovel. It was ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I watched a lot of Lyle when I was in high school, kind of trying to get creative and change my game a little bit. I watched him. Marcus Holman was another fun one, just the passion he plays with, and Jordan Wolf too. I kind of like to play like him at X. So yeah, no, but watch Lyle live. There's no one on earth is better.
Yeah,
my cousin,
electric.
my cousin played lacrosse in like Northern Virginia, and when they were at like a tournament or something, and they played against Lyle's team, whooped them like 22-0. Like
expected.
No chance.
That's expected. Right. Have you met Marcus? Like, you replaced him for a game. Did you then meet him? And like, have you gotten to know him? Because he's a really good guy. I've only had 2 interactions with him. When I worked out at UNC, he would come in and work out before the USA games, and he was a really, really good guy. Like, he never hesitated to talk to me and give me tips on how to get better and stuff like that. And I think he's a really good example of somebody who wants the game to get better at all levels.
Yeah, so Marcus came back for the last game of my rookie season in Ohio, and I was able to play with him, which was great. And actually now our youngest brother, Drew, is a freshman on the lacrosse team at Utah playing for Marcus. So he's Drew's OC now, and I know Drew's loving it.
We lost your volume.
Yeah, I think you muted yourself. There we go.
Oh, I think, yeah.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so Drew's at Utah now, and Marcus is OC. He's the best dude, so I'm really happy that Drew gets to play with him. And we talk a lot about Drew and his game, and me and Marcus catch up a few times a year. Yeah, he's a great dude, so I'm happy that Drew gets to see him. So hopefully we'll get to go out to Salt Lake and see a game this spring. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed. Yeah. We got to let college lacrosse happen. They have some sick uniforms too. But all right, Casey, this next one's for you. It's the penalty box. What's your worst take? Like, what do you get the most crap for from your brothers and, your teammates?
Well, for my teammates, it's easy. I always say the Cowboys will win it this year.
Oh, that's just no.
Yeah, so it's hasn't gone well for me, but the Stars are about to clinch the cup tonight, so hopefully I get some respect for the Stars at least. The Mavericks played great.
The Mavs played awesome. I was going to say, are you a Luka guy?
Oh, I'm a huge Luka guy. I mean,
he's my favorite player in the league.
That's also a hot take. So Brennan Sunday's the big sports guy, and him and I are always texting during all the bubble games that's been going on. I always tell him Luka for MVP next year, and he's always trying to talk me off of cloud 9. But
no, I think you're
definitely the hottest takes I have are anytime I bring up Dallas sports with the guys. They're definitely quick to shut me down.
No, I think your take on Luka is right, honestly. He has the most potential in the league. And I hate when people say he flops because, he doesn't. Honestly, he plays the game really well as a very athletic, tall, white man. He's very solid out there on the court,
He's been playing pro basketball since he was 15. He doesn't need to flop.
Yeah, no, he doesn't need to. And then, it's hilarious when people like Pat Bev call him out. This is turning into an NBA podcast, sorry. But, yeah, it's hilarious when people Pat Bev call him out. And it's you see the videos of him against Harden, and he just literally flies back like he's been shot. Right. Oh, man.
So
I agree.
Our next segment is the late and high for Bryce, which is what's the worst penalty you've either done or had done against you?
Worst penalty. I don't really get any penalties. I wish I was tougher. Worst penalty I've ever taken. I don't know. I got my clock cleaned in college against Princeton. It was the hardest hit I've ever taken. I remember I got skinny and I was going towards the crease, like a crease dive, but the crease dive wasn't legal.
Oh yeah.
Trying to put my foot in the ground, get upfield. And I was getting lifted by my defenseman, which literally just exposed me. I shot a half shot, went wide, and I remember I soaked one underneath my chin, and it was one of those where my feet went in the air
Ow.
before I hit the ground.
And you're how How did I even move
We
like
we
that?
ran it back in film a few times. Everyone got a good laugh out of it, but I actually got like helicoptered. It was pretty crazy.
I did that to someone, but it wasn't very impressive. He's like 38 and probably about 450 pounds, and he's like 5'6", and we were playing box, and he was following me towards a ground ball. I just stopped and like leaned down. I put my shoulder right here in his chest, and he just did this, and it was awful. I felt so bad because everyone was like, "You didn't have to hit him like that," and I was like, "Look, gravity took care of that one for me. Like I barely touched the man. I'm sorry."
Yeah, I started it. Gravity finished it.
Yeah, really.
It was a full blown helicopter thing. It was like Ricky Bobby when he's like, "Oh, I'm here. This is not good."
That's not good. No, but all right. So Casey, this one's called the moonshot. What's the worst shot you've ever taken in a game?
I would have to go back to high school. Any shot I took my freshman year that Bryce didn't like. And there was definitely a few times where I would take a shot and I get a hand off my shoulder pad from Bryce spinning me around and start yelling at me like, "Why didn't you pass it to me?"
I was open.
Bryce would be like, "I was only triple teamed. You like still pass me the ball." So I would probably say any shot I took my freshman year that wasn't from 5 yards or in.
Do you have a specific one burned into your brain forever? You might not want to talk about it, but I know every player has one. They're just like, that was the worst shot I've ever taken.
Yeah, it was actually against our guy, Sean Scanoni, his senior year.
Brick wall.
At UMass. I like caught a skip pass, splits my right hand, tried to do like a jump shot, and just like I tried to bounce it, and it was just a muffin off the turf.
Oh no.
And he said something to me. I think he said thanks for coming, like as he saved it. And he's so good at outlets too, and UMass is very good about breaking back up the field. So Papara was covering me. I shot it. Scanoni saved it, and literally in the same motion from going offside hip up in the air over top, and they go down and score. And I just was scared to walk towards the sideline.
Thanks for coming.
I was
That's such a line.
This is not going to go well.
Scanoni.
Yeah, now we're super tight with Scanoni. Yeah. So
that's such a line. Thanks for coming.
I know. That's gonna have to be the title of the episode.
Yeah.
That's probably the worst one I've taken in college, right? Where it just bad shot, Scanoni, goal on the other end, and I was like, this is probably the worst situation.
I don't shoot jumpers. I just don't have the core strength. Like I've seen people who are good at them, and it works for them, but I can't bring my stick around like that. I don't know why. There's something about it.
I don't shoot jumpers anymore.
Bryce, do you have a worse shot? We got another question for you after this, but I just want to hear yours because you're also an offensive guy.
Yeah, I mean, any shot for me outside of 12 yards is my worst shot. That's not my game. I don't really have any burned in my memory. I did get benched for a nice low to high gumball at Monmouth. We were playing UMass Lowell my senior year. I was having a terrible game. I think it was like I was 0 for 13 shooting.
Oh,
it'd be like that.
Oh, that's a day.
I was just trying to shove it in there, and Coach Fish pulled me. He was like, "You've got 2 minutes to go sit on the bench and figure this out." So that one's like burned in. That one's burned in for sure.
I had a game like that my freshman year. My coach literally was like, "What's going on? Like, what you shot?"
I got put in timeout in a Division I lacrosse game. So that
I was a feeder more than a shooter in high school, so I definitely had my fair share of bad shots. But I didn't have those big games where I missed a lot of shots. I'd usually have at least one goal and like 4 shots. But yeah, an 0 for 14 day, you can't even look at your stick anymore. Like,
right.
That's the worst.
I scored the game winner with 7 seconds left.
So you redeemed yourself.
Yeah, totally redeemed myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we're gonna move on and just ask some questions about you guys in general, just to get to know you guys a little better. So Bryce, what are some hobbies you have outside of the sport of lacrosse?
I mean, one hobby is reading these fat things.
Law school.
My law school takes up quite a bit of time. When I'm not in law school, I'm either playing lacrosse. I like to play golf. I'm not that great at it. I love jet skis. I was born to ride. And I mean, being here in Miami, I'm literally looking at the ocean right now. Like,
so cool.
That's definitely a fun pastime. So yeah, I'd say that's what my hobbies are, I guess. Reading and go to the beach and playing golf.
Do you have your own jet ski, or do you rent?
I do not. You gotta. One of our friends in law school has one though, and he's
Nice.
you gotta rent it from him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's like a 6-pack and fill it with gas or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's not a bad rental system. My friend and I are trying to
Right.
buy a boat at some point before next year. But all right, Casey, what's your favorite current TV show? What you got hooked on?
Oh wow. Right now I'm not really watching much TV besides just sports because there's so much on.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But I'll
We
change
love
the question.
sports.
My favorite shows of all time are probably Entourage and Friday Night Lights. I think
Texas forever.
Friday Night Lights. I watched every single 2-a-day preseason in high school from my freshman year to my senior year, and then watch it again my sophomore year preseason of lacrosse. And so I guess that's 5 times I've gone to the show. And Entourage, I actually just refinished like a week ago. But those are probably definitely my 2 favorite shows.
I watched Friday Night Lights all the way through one time, but I couldn't get over Landry being a murderer. You know,
All right, yeah.
that was just that and I don't know. Everybody loves Saracen, but I think he's just kind of a pansy as a character.
Right. Yeah. Riggins going to
forever.
jail
I
for
love
me.
Yeah, Riggs,
Him-
I love him.
Him going to jail definitely hurt me.
I bet. Yeah,
I did not
Me
like
too.
that. Yeah,
He's
that
very
one.
sad.
That one hurt me.
Bryce, what is the weirdest food item that you like?
I'll answer with 2 responses. I love Uncrustables, the little
Those are
peanut butter
delicious,
sandwiches.
though. Everybody loves those.
Delicious, but like I love those, and I'm actually a gourmet dino nugget chef.
Gourmet.
That people make fun of me for that one, but it's like a whole ordeal. Like I'll get the pan and I'll like pan serum and put like ranch and barbecue sauce in the pan, kind of like hibachi style, and mix it all up.
Wow.
It's an ordeal. So
That's
it's like these like tenderized, soaked, like
some fancy
crispy
nuggets.
dino
Oh,
nugs.
man.
Yeah, I whip it up. My friends in college always would love it. We would come home from the bars and they'd be like, Bryce, it's time. It's and then
Yeah.
dino nugs. Dino. Yeah.
That's definitely something that you come home from the bar and chant. Dino
Right.
Nugs. Make them now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you burned a couple in your day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's been a couple episodes where it didn't turn out well, but for the most part.
You probably ate them anyways, though. Everybody does that. So, I'm a car guy, so each of you can answer this. But what are your dream cars? Casey, you go first, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've been a truck guy since I've gotten a car. I had a
Love
GMC
trucks.
Sierra in high school, and then from my senior year of high school till now, I have a Ford
It's
Raptor.
beautiful.
So
Oof.
I'm a big truck guy. I think Anna's definitely seen it driving around the bubble.
Park next to it every day.
There you go.
Is it the V8?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So you got the good one.
Yep.
Yeah. That's sick.
But I'm gonna have to grow up eventually and probably work in the city somewhere once I'm done
No.
with college. But I was coaching a youth team about a month ago before I came up, and this dad had pulled up in a Q8 Audi, like an Audi SUV Q8, like all black everything. I was like, that's the car I want.
Those are
Like, it was
gorgeous.
the slickest looking car I've seen. So yeah, that definitely that'd probably be the Q8.
If I have to get a car again anytime, I'm definitely going with like a Mercedes wagon.
Yeah.
Because if you get an all black one of those, they're just so low and sleek and they can go so fast. They surprise everyone.
100%.
What about you, Bryce? You a truck guy too?
No, I've got a Range Rover, so I'm an SUV guy.
Those are nice.
Incredible. I love it. If I had to upgrade it, I would do the Lamborghini SUV.
That's
The
sick.
Urus, those are gorgeous. I saw
Yeah,
one
those
here in
are
Raleigh.
Incredible. There's a lot of them here in Miami. Obviously, everyone
I'm
down
sure.
here has their nice cars. So I've seen some pretty decked out ones. They're incredible.
I saw a red one and it looked insane. Red with all the black tint on it. Oh my God,
Right.
it looked so good. No, I'm about to get a Nissan Frontier. My parents told me you're graduating, so we'll get you a
There
truck.
you go.
Yeah, they got my sister something, but I think I'm gonna wait like 4 more months for the new body style to come out, because then all the older ones are just gonna plummet in value, which is where I come in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And get a Pro 4X for a very good rate. Yeah. Because then I can take it off road like your Raptor. Exactly the same. Don't question it.
Exactly.
So I think we're just going to have our last question. And, sorry. It's a tough one, but both of you guys can answer it. What do you want your legacy to be when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty interesting for me because it's obviously being written a little bit right now. I don't know. I think I want my legacy to kind of be like when we were talking about Marcus, right? Like, he was just a good dude. He brought energy every day. Everyone loved being around him. Yeah, and so and then on the field, obviously, just like a dominating force that just never took a play off, never took a day off, never took no for an answer, right? So I think that's something that I think about a lot, and like we talk about as a family a lot. Like, what do you want your last name to mean when you leave Monmouth, or when you leave Towson, or when you leave Utah? Like, if they hear Wasserman, what do they think? So I definitely think that those are two of the things that I would focus on.
Yeah, kind of pretty much the same. I kind of want to go down in Towson as kind of being the best teammate. Like, we're a very close team. I kind of want to be the guy who never left someone behind, who brought the whole team together. Obviously, it was like on the field, off the field, but just kind of never led someone stray from the pack, and just kind of a tireless worker. Whether it's being so annoying that my new offensive coordinator, Coach Musey, which he's told me I need to relax a couple times, but being so annoyed, like trying to watch film, trying to do chalk talk, getting 3 guys to come out and take extra shots after practice, hanging out with the freshmen, making sure they're doing all right. Just kind of an all-around great teammate and a tireless worker. Would definitely be a good legacy at Towson.
Have you met Will Frith yet?
I've met a few of the freshmen, but it's kind of weird right now, because they're in the dorms and they don't want anything in the dorms to then spread to the off-campus houses.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little weird right now, but hopefully hopefully fall kicks up in October at least.
Yeah.
We can play. If not, I'll probably meet all of them in January.
He went to my high school, and he kind of has he was committed to Furman too, and then when they cut their program, he went to Towson. But yeah.
Love it. He made a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think, we're getting ready to wrap things up. So do you guys have any social medias that you want to plug, like your handles or any charities you might work with at Towson or in the MLL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at Bryce Wasserman too on Instagram, at Bryce Wasserman on Twitter. Charity, we love Bridge Lacrosse down in Dallas, Texas, kind of like Harlem Lacrosse, how they do that up in New York and in Boston and Baltimore. Bridge Lacrosse is for a lot of inner city programs in Dallas. They were very involved with the Rattlers. I know they're getting a lot more involved in the professional ranks. They're being sponsored by a lot of teams and things like that. Definitely want to get involved more in the future. So yeah, Bridge Lacrosse, Dallas, Texas. Shout out to them. Hopefully I'll be back soon.
I'm just at Casey Wasserman on Instagram, Casey Wasserman 6 on Twitter. But definitely something that's near and dear to Towson. We're always top 3 in donations, but the Headstrong Foundation, and I've actually been lucky enough to be the team captain this year, so I'm kind of organizing our donation page and kind of how we're going to get out beyond just doing mustaches, obviously, but kind of going above and beyond with that. So that's definitely a great foundation. If you're going to donate, make sure you donate through the Towson Lacrosse page, but donate in general. It's a great cause. If you don't know the story, it's an incredible story and what they've done since they started, I think about 10, 12 years ago. They have 2 houses now that house people that basically have to uproot their lives to go find the best cancer treatment for their sons or daughters. And Headstrong has now made 2 houses where they can now stay essentially rent-free, and so they don't have to travel far, going to and from. So basically families can stick together during a tough time like this. So all the donation money goes to kind of stuff like that, and it's a great foundation.
That's a great cause.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those. I like both of those.
Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at evans.cr2 and on Twitter at @theAnEvans.
And you can follow me not at JK Sullivan. That was wrong last week. It's at John Sullivan 20 on Instagram. All right. Well, I think that's all for us today. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your favorite platform, but Apple Music or Apple Podcast really helps the most. It really does help us a lot. We can also be found on YouTube now, where you can watch us interview the guests. And if you are watching, you can see that I have a sticker now on my cup, because we have those on our website. Please go visit us, www.lowtohighpod.com. You can get yourself some stickers there and check out a little more about the podcast in general. Don't forget to follow us at Low to High Pod on Twitter and at Low to High Podcast on Instagram. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much, Casey and Bryce, for coming on. And thank you to the listener. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. This is
Thanks,
fun.
guys.
Absolutely.